Welcome back to Newsroom. I'm Shella Smith, your Middle East U.S. entertainment news here on YouTube. I air on Fridays. I bring you the latest on reforms and economics based on reports put out by the Middle East news media outlets. I do this weekly review and it's based off my interest. Thank you everyone for joining me. Let's get right into our news articles. Economy News Baghdad reports Al Rashid Bank announced the removal of its name from the list of international sanctions of the United Nations charters, which came according to the documents issued on April 18, 2022. The bank's media office said in a statement the decision came due to the efforts made by Iraqi government. The Minister of Foreign Affairs, the permanent representative of the Republic of Iraq to the United Nations, and Al Rashid Bank has stressed the decision has restored Al Rashid Bank to its rightful place in the banking field. Economy News Baghdad reports the Ministry of Finance reveals that the percentage of non-oil revenues did not exceed 4% of the total revenues during the first quarter of this year. A report seen by the ministry stated that the total oil revenues amounted to 33.3 trillion dinars, while the total non-oil revenues amounted to 1.5 trillion. The total oil and non-oil revenues amounted to 34.9 trillion dinars until March this year. The report indicated that the percentage of oil revenues out of the total revenues amounted to 96% compared to the 4% of non-oil revenues. According to the data, Iraq has achieved a financial surplus of 11.41 trillion dinars during the first 3 months of this year. Shafaq News has reported the board of directors of the Central Bank of Iraq decided to increase its capital by 2 trillion Iraqi dinars. It was decided to increase the capital of the Central Bank of Iraq from 3 trillion to 5 trillion dinars. The bank has explained that the increase came to enhance the results of its balance policy with a conservative investment management and to emphasize the importance of the bank's capital and its reflection on its financial position. The bank has indicated that the capital of the central bank and their financial centers reflect the sobriety of their institutions, the solidity of their assets, and the extent of their ability to support the banking sector and the sector. Also saying the increase is by using part of the profits achieved by the central bank in 2021. Economy News Baghdad reported the Parliament Finance Committee issued a statement regarding the proposal for the emergency support law, while indicating that the law was submitted to Parliament's presidency. The head of the committee, Hassan Al-Kabi, said in a statement the proposal was presented in view of the global crisis, the rise in prices of basic foodstuff, and the occasion of a number of countries to Ukraine and Russia in refraining from exporting wheat outside their countries, which is the main resource for global food baskets, and the direction and advice of the International Monetary Fund and the bank. The international community, the World Food Organization, and the Group of Seven, G7, stressed the need to start algaculture development and encourage algaculture to secure the global need for food, especially since the crisis is still continuing and its repercussions on all countries of the world, including Iraq. Al-Kabi called on all members of the council, and behind them the parliamentary blocs, political parties, and independents to participate in constructive dialogue and discussion for the purpose of ripening the laws as quickly as possible in a way that guarantees its legislation and implementation to achieve the desired goals and in a manner that achieves the interest of the Iraqi people. This next reading will be a little long, but let's take a look. Janine Plesheret from United Nations, presented by Digital Media. Janine Plesheret, the head of United Nations Assistant Mission in Iraq, the UNAMI, urges leaders in the Kurdistan region to bridge the political divide ahead of October's parliamentary elections, stating division across party lines has only worsened over the past year. Plesheret spoke out against the toxicity of political infighting in the Kurdistan region during a briefing at the UN Security Council on Tuesday, May 17th. She also expressed grave concern over political deadlock in Baghdad, the security situation in regards to Turkey and Iran's armed incursions on Iraqi territory, the recent hostilities in Sinjar, and the current tensions between Erbil and the Iraqi federal government. The UNAMI chief said Kurdish leadership should concentrate on solutions for all components in the Kurdistan region. It is the utmost importance to level the electoral playing field with all political actors, big or small, enjoying equal opportunities, she stated. Plasharet describes the current dialogue between Baghdad and Erbil over the Kurdistan region's oil sales as a sorry pattern of ad hoc negotiations. Tensions renewed between the federal government and Erbil, followed by the federal Supreme Court's verdict in February that ruled the Kurdistan region's government, the KRG's oil and gas laws were unconstitutional. Plasharet said that she had spoken out with both sides over the past issues and believed that there was a way out, but insisted on an institutionalized resolution was necessary. The lack of institutional mechanisms and internal rivalries on both sides hinder a resolution over Erbil and Baghdad's oil issues, Plasharet said, adding Baghdad's failure to form a government 7 months after the last year's election has come to a steep price. It excludes a political deadlock while non-state armed groups fired rockets with apparent freedom and impunity, she declares. It excuses a political stalemate while ordinary people suffer. Speaking on Iran's ballistic missile attacks on Erbil in March, the UNAMI chief said Tehran and Baghdad has chosen dialogue and would not escalate the matter. She refers to Turkey and Iran's cross-border bombardments in the Kurdistan region as a very risky way to advance interest that weakens Iraq. Responding to the situation in Sinjar, Plasharet said that she continued to encourage the implementation of the Sinjar Agreement signed in 2020. However, she insisted a stable government was necessary to take such steps that would allow displaced residents to return. Sinjar's safety and security should be front and center at all times, she stated. Shafak News on Monday reported Prime Minister Mustafa al-Kazimi shared an economic meeting devoted to discussing the current financial and economic conditions in the country. A statement by al-Kazimi's office said that the meeting came in light of the reports and positive indicators development by the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank, and the meeting was attended by the Minister of Finance and advisors specialized in finance and economic aspects. At the outset of the meeting, the Prime Minister affirmed that the strategies that were developed to address the financial and economic conditions has succeeded in overcoming the challenges that the government receives at the beginning of its formation, and that the growth of the indicators mentioned by the international reports is a reflection of the strategies. He also added that the memorandums that succeeded in raising the country's economic situation must continue, and that we should continue to strive for more. He listened to the details presented by the Ministry of Finance and the Iraqi economic reality and the good international indicators in light of the escalating growth of the Iraqi economy despite the great challenges it faces, as international reports indicated that the total foreign currency reserves increased significantly in addition to achieving a good level of revenues. In a report issued last April, the World Bank confirmed that Iraq's ranked first in the Arab world with the largest growth in GDP and per capita for the year 2022. At the World Bank report expected that Iraq's gross domestic products will grow this year by 8.9%, exceeding the rest of the Arab countries, including Qatar, which is expected to grow by 4.9%, Saudi Arabia at 7%, and Kuwait at 5.7%. Shafak News reported the Iraqi Stock Exchange announced Monday that it's traded shares with a financial value of more than 43 billion dinars during the past week. The market said in a report the number of companies whose shares were traded during the past week amounted to 56 joint stock companies, while the shares of 33 companies were not traded due to the lack of convergence of the price of purchase orders with sales orders, while 15 companies continue to stop for not providing disclosure from out of 103 companies listed on the market. It is noteworthy that the Iraqi Stock Exchange organizes 5 trading sessions per week from Sunday to Thursday and includes 103 Iraqi joint stock companies representing the sector of banking, telecommunications, industry, agriculture, insurance, financial investment, tourism, and hotel. You've been watching Newsroom Weekly Review. I'm Chella Smith, your Middle East U.S. entertainment news on reforms and economics, bringing you the latest Dinar news without having to keep up with all the different outlets. I'm here on YouTube every Friday. Don't forget to subscribe, and if you like my content, give me a thumbs up. Shout out to Currency365 for his continued support. If you want to learn about stocks or cryptos while waiting on the dinar to revalue, you can join him and his crew for the most recent updates. You can find him on YouTube or Patreon. Well, that's all I have for this week's news. I'll see you guys next week. Take care.